Good morning, everybody. Another beautiful morning here in Northern California, just about ready to get on my trail run, but I wanted to share a couple of things before I do that. So welcome to another episode of Wired for Wealth, guiding you to achieve lasting financial freedom and peace of mind. Greetings, everybody. I'm John MacGregor, your financial mentor and antidote to your financial struggles. My goal is for you to think better and do better so you can feel better about your financial future. And if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Ring that bell below and hit subscribe. All right, folks, if you're in your 30s and have financial freedom on your mind, then this video is precisely for you. This is all about what to do now so you can achieve financial freedom and peace of mind when you do in fact retire. And when I say retire, I mean walking away for good and enjoying the golden years as you've always dreamed about. Look, throughout my career, I can't tell you how many 65-year-olds would walk into my office and sit down and say, "Hey, John, I'm ready to retire. Let's make it happen." And I'll tell you, in most cases, at a quick glance, I knew right away there was absolutely no way they were going to be able to retire certainly the way they had wanted to all their years. They would either have to continue working at a job they no longer wanted to do or could do, or significantly reduce their retirement lifestyle. And it was a horrible conversation. I just hated having those conversations. And so did my clients for obvious reasons. Having to tell someone who's worked their tail off for 30 or 40 years or whatever it is so that they can one day retire comfortably, and now I have to throw cold water on their plans, can be a very painful and emotional conversation for all of us. And I don't want you to have that same conversation when you turn 65. The bottom line, in most cases, what I've witnessed, the number one reason they were not able to retire at 65 on their own terms is because they did no planning and they took no action in advance. That's it. They waited until it was too late and then suddenly expected everything to work out on its own. In essence, their retirement plan was based on hope. And I will tell you, hope is not a retirement strategy. They went along their life thinking everything will work out in the long run. But sadly, for many, it doesn't work that way. So if you're 30 years old, or I should say, if you're in your 30s, you have a tremendous opportunity now to change the trajectory of your financial life right now so that you can live your dreams during your retirement. But it all boils down to you making it a priority. That's the key difference between those that succeeded financially and those that continue to struggle. Those people who have succeeded financially made it a priority in their life. It's that simple. Those who succeeded financially and are now living life on their own terms took this topic extremely seriously. They didn't rely on somebody else to look after them. They took it upon themselves to make it happen for themselves. And that's what I want you to do as well. But again, it all boils down to your priorities. So let me ask you, is financial freedom a priority for you? Is it really? What are you willing to do to make it happen? These are the questions you need to be asking yourself on a consistent basis and reminding yourself of the importance of this topic. That's the key. And because you're in your 30s, you are still young enough to make the necessary changes to achieve financial freedom and peace of mind. But I will tell you, your window is slowly closing. If you know me by now, you know I don't like to sugarcoat things. Because I care. I really care so deeply about your future. I will always be here for you, guiding you as you go through this journey of financial transformation. But I will say, all my coaching and mentoring can only go so far. It's up to you to take action. So this is your wake-up call to get serious about this topic, because you cannot turn back time. So again, if you're in your 30s and wondering how to retire and become financially free, I'm going to discuss the following. How much money you need to save up. Number 2, what are some of the best financial decisions that you can make now to help you achieve your goals later on? And number 3, how you should invest your money. All right, so let's dig in. The most important decision to ask when it comes to preparing for your retirement is, how much money do I need, or how much money do you need? The answer will always depend on a variety of factors, of course. For example, how many years until you retire? What expenses are coming up in the near future? And what does your retirement lifestyle look like to you? There's a general rule of thumb in the investment world. It's called the 4% rule. It's not a hard, fast rule, and it's not scientific, but it gives you a general idea of how much money you can be withdrawing for the amount that you have saved while protecting your principal during your retirement. So for example, if you had $1 million saved up by the time you were 65, 4% of that would be $40,000 a year in income. Proponents of this rule say that this 4% rule should give you peace and comfort knowing that you will not outlive your assets for the remainder of your life, and that 4% is adjusted for inflation. Obviously, there's all kinds of scenarios that would change that, including market volatility and unforeseen expenses. So this is a general rule to utilize. But let me turn that question around to, how much should you be putting away? In the ideal scenario, I like to make the recommendation the 50-30-20 budget rule, where 50% of your take-home pay goes to all of those things that you need. This includes your rent and your mortgage and health insurance and your cell phone and your electricity or utilities, food. In other words, all the necessities in your life. 30% should go to all your wants. This is the entertainment, the movies, the memberships, the vacations, Netflix, etc. And 20% of your take-home should go towards your savings for your retirement or your future. If you can reach that goal, you will have an amazing future. And I would encourage you to do everything possible to hit that goal. This is precisely how I became financially free by the time I hit 37, by incorporating this specific budget rule. And I will tell you, I did not sacrifice in order to hit my goal. I had an amazing life, and I still do. And I did everything that I wanted to do. I was just very conscious on how I spent my money. You know why? That's right. It was a huge, huge priority for me. And as a result, I'm now living on my own terms. And you can too. So I would strongly encourage you to look back at all the expenses that you incur take the last 3 months and really determine what expenses were for wants versus needs versus savings, or your future, I should say. And you can easily run the math to determine how far off you are from that 50-30-20 rule. And if you're unable to put aside 20% for your future, then you need to seriously reconsider where your money is going. You may have purchased a much bigger house than you needed, or rented a much more expensive apartment than you need as well. Perhaps your car is too expensive. I see that all the time. Whatever it is, you need to seriously analyze where every dollar is going and determine if this expense is necessary, and if so, is there another way to get the same benefit at a lower price? Make sense? And I will tell you, in 10 out of 10 cases, I will say, I've always found hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that people are just basically wasting on a monthly basis. Check out my video titled, "Stop Committing This One Dumb Financial Mistake and Do This One Thing Now." That's the long title of it. And I'll show you a very big financial mistake that is costing people thousands of dollars every month or every year. And that's a storage unit. You get the drift. Okay, number 2. What are some of the best financial decisions that you can make now to help you achieve your goals later on? There's a lot to unpack in this question, so let me lay this out in succinct bullet points. The first is to start saving now. I alluded to that earlier in the previous question, but I can't emphasize this enough. Since you're in your 30s, that means you have approximately 30 plus years before you would typically retire. The longer you wait, the more money you're going to have to put away in order to achieve your goals. Makes sense, right? And here's some numbers for you that I pulled from a simple compound calculator online. And by the way, I would encourage you to take a look at a compound calculator online. They're actually a lot of fun to play with to see how your money will grow over time with various rates of return. A simple one I use is called Money Chip moneychimp.com. So, to give you an idea how powerful compounding is and why it makes sense to start as early as possible, let's say you put aside $12,000 every year for 35 years. That's $1,000 per month for the next 35 years. You with me? And let's assume you get an 8% rate of return annually. 8% is less than what the overall market has done on average over the last 100 years, so I'm being slightly conservative here on the rate of return for this example. Okay, so $1,000 a month for 35 years at 8% will end up at $2.4 million. That's right, $2.4 million. Let's say you started in your 40s and now you only have 25 years to put away money. So that $1,000 a month for now 25 years at 8%, you'll end up with just over $1 million. That's a difference of $1.4 million simply because you waited an extra 10 years to start putting money away. I hope that clearly demonstrates why it's so important to start today. Not today, now. Now, on a side note, if you contribute to your retirement plan at work, which I could encourage enough, especially if your employee is matching that $12,000 example that I just gave, it could be much higher. In fact, let's just run the numbers for fun. All right, the maximum you can contribute to a 401k, which is the most popular retirement plan in the US, and every country has their own version, which is very similar rules. So the maximum you can contribute to a 401k now is $19,500. And let's say you contributed that amount every year for the next 35 years at that same 8% rate of return. Are you sitting down? You're now looking at $3.9 million. So how'd you like to get that when you turn 65? I think $3.9 million at retirement would go a long way at securing an amazing life for you and your family, including your grandchildren one day. Okay, number two, in terms of important financial decisions, is to make sure you are financially organized. I've talked about this ad nauseum in the past in other videos, but it bears worth repeating. In my years of working with thousands of individuals of all walks of life, I've seen a direct correlation between financial disorganization and financial devastation. Too many people come to me with a junk drawer of financial statements and contracts and policies and tons of paperwork, and half the time most of the information is missing. Just by being financially organized with a filing system of all your documents, your statements, your receipts, all that stuff can go a long way to give you a lot of peace of mind and confidence. And it will lower stress levels, I can assure you that. On a side note, I've got a free tool on my website that can guide you on how to organize your financial documents very easily. But I cannot stress this enough. Those people that I have seen firsthand that succeeded financially, in almost every case, had their financial documents, their financial life organized. All right, number three is to get your will done. I won't belabor this point, but what I will tell you, even at your age, it is extremely important to get this document done. And it's possible you may even need a living trust. That all depends on certain situations, whether you're either married or you have kids or you own a home or even a business. But write a note for yourself right now to schedule time with a lawyer and get this or these documents done. It's so important. Look, 65% of people die without a will, and it's an absolute train wreck for your loved ones when that situation happens. You do not want a judge who's overwhelmed with caseloads to determine who gets what of yours. So, as soon as this video is done, get proactive, make an appointment, and get these documents done. You can do this online, that's fine. There are all various resources that'll do that for you at a much cheaper price, and that's fine if that fits within your budget. I just always recommend using a specialist, an attorney in this case, for this very, very important document. All right, number four, which I should have kind of mentioned earlier when it came to your savings, is to set up an emergency fund. Given everything that's gone on in this crazy world, all the craziness that we've seen, the lockdowns and the layoffs, and now we're facing artificial intelligence that's going to replace a lot of our jobs, you need to set up at least 6 months of your income, or expenses I should say, in a savings account for that moment in case you do in fact lose your job. This will give you some time to find a new source of revenue without having to panic. It's just so important. Don't invest this money, just put it in a savings account and leave it there. Number 5 is debt management. There's nothing more rewarding and there is no greater feeling than having no debt. And when I say debt, I'm really referring to credit card debt. Many of you have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage and you're gonna have that for many, many years, and that's totally fine. That's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm really talking about is the strangulation of credit card debt that's destroying the lives of so many people. Perhaps you're in that boat. Now, I'm not going to recommend delaying your savings in order to pay down your credit card debt, because I really want you to do both at the same time. I want you to accumulate savings in addition to paying down your credit card debt at the same time. Now, I know it's a bit of a balancing act, but I think it's extremely important that you continue to build your wealth as well as minimize your liabilities. And look, I'm in no way an anti-credit card person. I think credit cards are an extremely useful and important tool. It's just that for so many, these credit cards have become like a live grenade and they've exploded. So you need to go back and revisit that 50-30-20 rule that I talked about earlier. And by the way, having too much available credit and then having late or missing payments, as I'm sure you know, has a huge negative impact on your credit score, and that can be devastating because your credit score is basically your financial report card, and your credit score determines a lot about your life. Getting a mortgage, renting an apartment, setting up a cell phone, getting a job. So many other things are determinant on your credit score. And just another reason why you need to be extremely careful with your credit cards. One thing you can do is put that 30% of wants from your budget rule on a debit card. And that's all you get to spend on wants for that particular month. That's just one little strategy. Does that make sense? All right, number 6 ties in with number 5, which is to stop trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? You know why? Because the Joneses are broke as well. I mean it when I say I've seen this for years with my clients. Too many people are buying stuff they don't need with money they don't have simply to impress people that really don't care. Time after time again, clients come to my office. We discuss their financial future. I show them the deadly path they're on if they continue with their spending habits that they're on. They get all excited and get nervous, and you can see fear in their eyes, and they say, okay, John, what do we do now? And for the next hour or so, we map out a distinct, personalized plan, and by the time we're done, we've agreed to the next meeting, the next steps. They have a to-do list, things we need. We set up a follow meeting, and in the end, they express their absolute commitment to the agreed-upon financial plan that we designed. We hug, and we shake, and we pinky swear, and they say they're absolutely committed. But as soon as they leave my office, they're on their way to an electronics store to buy the latest and greatest 70-inch flat screen TV on a maxed out credit card when they already had a very nice television. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but you get my point. And their excuse is, John, we needed it, or it's just another $50 a payment on a credit card. What difference does that make? They didn't need that television and they knew it, but their neighbor across the street just picked one up and they thought it was so amazing that they had to have one, or even a better one. It's crazy. Now that's just one crazy example, but you get the drift. You don't need all this stuff to be happy. I can't tell you how many people I've seen that are dying financially because they lived for today and they ignored their future. All right, finally, number 7, and I will stop here. I certainly don't want to overwhelm you, and I'll be adding to this list over time, but I will tell you, if you knock out these 7, you are putting yourself at a major advantage for your future. All right, so finally, number 7, it's about enhancing your income. And that could be in the form of advancing your career or identifying other revenue generating activities. And in today's day and age, with your laptop and a smartphone, there are thousands of ways that you can be generating significant amount of income on the side to make your financial future and your financial life even better. I would set aside a goal, how much additional income you want to make per month, and then decide how you're going to get there. It's that simple. Even if that's driving an Uber car on the weekends or DoorDash, whatever it is. I mean, I think you could generate $1,000 a month and just put that away for your future. Think what that would do. Remember our example of that $1,000 a month for 35 years, what that grew to? Remember that? Well, let me remind you. That grew to $2.4 million. All right, I'll stop there. I'll just wrap up by saying, Your 30s is an amazing opportunity to build a financial foundation for you and your family so that you can enjoy that retirement you always envisioned for yourself and your loved ones. You just need to make it a priority. That's right. As I've said before, the greatest power someone possesses is the power of choice. And your financial future is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. It's a matter of your choice. And it's not something to just sit back and wait for. It's something for you to go out and get. I've got a lot of free resources on my website that you can download for free immediately to start your journey to financial freedom and peace of mind. I'm also super excited to announce my online financial mentorship program called Thrive Path. This is the revolutionary process to financial freedom and peace of mind. I will tell you, this program is scientifically designed not only to change your bank account, but it was designed to change your entire life forever. And I would encourage you to go to the website and check it out for yourself. With that, don't forget to ring that bell and hit subscribe and leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. We'll see you next time. Have a great one. Upward and onward. Take care.